Hey guys, welcome to Newswave. Now there's a bunch of stuff to get into today and talk about, but first I want to say if you enjoy this video, consider subscribing down below and hit the like button if you enjoy it as well. And with that, let's get started. Now the first bit of news today does come from Nintendo, and it is the big bit of news that's been going on for a while, and that is that the Nintendo Direct is returning tomorrow. That's Wednesday, April 12th, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific time, this is United States time, or 6 p.m. Eastern time, and really they've pretty much told us what to expect. Now they did say you will see stuff from the Switch, specifically Splatoon 2 and ARMS, and I think they do need to kind of detail those a little further, but real quick from there they also said we will see some 3DS stuff, which tells me probably Fire Emblem. Maybe there's another game out there that they want to show us. More than likely though, it'll probably be Fire Emblem, and then they will go back to Switch where they will talk to us about Splatoon 2 and ARMS and maybe something else. However, I do want to stress, don't get your hopes up too much. I do think this is going to be a smaller Direct where they do mostly focus on Splatoon 2 and ARMS, because I think those are the games that are closest to release right now. I think ARMS more than likely is going to be due out in May, and I think Splatoon will probably be due out in late June, early July, so don't go into this Direct thinking you're going to see a bunch of games announced, or even any games announced. More than likely we go in there and we just get more information. I do think Nintendo should come to the table here with more than just Splatoon 2 and ARMS. I think they need to come to the table with something more about their online service, because keep in mind, they're going to start charging us for that in the fall. I think it's about time we find out what we're going to be paying for, and if we can just try it out soon with the voice app and everything. Now, realistically, it doesn't make a lot of sense to just start announcing stuff at this Direct, because keep in mind, we're about 2 months away from E3, so keep your good reveals ready for E3 and just show us stuff that I think will be out either before or around E3, because if Splatoon 2 comes out a week after E3, no point in showing us much at all about it, because it'll already have gone gold and be pretty much on their way to retailers or at retailers at that time. I think, like I said, ARMS will probably be out in May. I have my date pegged May 26th for ARMS. I could be completely wrong, but I do think that game is coming out sooner than a lot of us may think. That would make a lot of sense, because we have Mario Kart in April, we would then have ARMS in May, and then of course it would be followed up with Splatoon 2 over in June. And then at that point, we need something for July, need something for August, and then we break into the holiday season with things like Mario, Xenoblade, Shin Megami Tensei maybe, and any other games they're talking about, which are quite a few, and Project Octopath is a big one I really want to play. But at that point, anything from E3, maybe later on in the year as well, but also might fall to 2018. What I'm trying to say is the Direct should just be what they've told us: Splatoon 2, ARMS, a quick reveal on something, maybe some gameplay from Fire Emblem here, or Warriors, maybe, and that's about it. Nonetheless, should be exciting. We need release dates for both. I think they will both be there, and I think at that point they'll maybe show us some extra maps from Splatoon 2. We need to know about possibly a campaign mode for ARMS, and maybe a few extra characters, and that might be about it. Overall, though, it'll be fun. It's great to see Nintendo Directs. It's always a lot of fun to speculate what's in there, and then of course when we get to watch it, it's a lot of fun. I will be live streaming it, so if you're around later on that day, come by, hang out in the stream, and we'll just have some fun watching a Nintendo Direct. And today, Ukulele did officially release, which is awesome. I'm picking it up in physical form for the PS4, just because I enjoy physical games, like I've said time and time again on this channel. But the big thing is, we did get a look from Digital Foundry, which of course is a great place for frame rate analysis, resolution analysis. In this case, they double-checked Ukulele because there were a lot of concerns from early reviewers on the frame rate and how it had a lot of frame drops and dips, and sometimes even just straight freezing. But what's awesome is Digital Foundry checked it after the patch. The Ukulele runs at a solid 30 pretty much across the board for the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, they did say the Xbox One has some issues when there's like big particle effects going on. Nothing major though, nothing like the reviews we're talking about. Some of the reviews were saying it was going down to like 3 or 4 frames a second most times, big dips. They couldn't find really any on the PS4. It was locked at 30. If you're fortunate enough to have a good enough PC to play it at 4K, they managed to get it to run at 4K 60 frames on a 980 Ti, which is also impressive. They did say if you were running at 1080, you will probably have a pretty reasonable experience with even a mid-range video card at 1080p with high settings. So it sounds like despite it being on the Unity engine, which has had optimization problems in the past, is good. Apparently their optimization is good. It'll run fine on the Xbox One, the PS4. No PS4 Pro patch, which I think is a mistake. I hope it is fixed in the future, because obviously the PS4 Pro should be able to run it at 60 frames per second if these mid-range computers can. So Realistically, I would expect a patch in the future. If they do want to address it, they should, because that means that the PS4 Pro is just going to be left unused at that point. But either way, I'll be getting on the PS4. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I really want to see how this plays on the Switch, because this will be another game that will be compared heavily across the board with the Switch, the PS4, and the Xbox One. And it'll be interesting to play it in handheld mode. I probably will get it on the PS4 and the Switch, especially if there's a physical Switch release, but still no timetable when that's out. We'll just have to wait and see. Some very interesting sales numbers came in for Lego City Undercover. Remember that game that released? It's an awesome Lego game. It came out on the Wii U a couple years ago. It's very fun. It's kind of on the same vein as, like, say, Grand Theft Auto, but it's more Legos, so it's a little more like younger audience friendly. It's a really fun game overall. The writing's good. It's very humorous. But it came out on the Switch, the PS4, and the Xbox One recently. And we had some sales figures come back from the UK, and they may have finished in different places sales-wise than you would have thought. So the big thing is the Switch sold more than the other versions, which again is odd because it came out on the Wii U, so the audience for the Switch may have already bought it on the Wii U, but it's still sold on the Switch apparently at $60, no problem, I guess. And it also sold okay on the PS4. The Xbox One came in last place, but if you see the UK charts that you're looking at here, you will see at this point the Switch version came in at number 14. Down from there, you will see it came in at 32 on the Xbox One, and then it came in at 26 on the PS4. Now, what does this mean exactly? It probably means, honestly, that the people on the Switch probably don't have, obviously, the choices that are out there for the PS4 and the Xbox One. Much more people, many more people are out there with PS4s right now. Not as many for the Switch, but there's also not that many games out for the Switch. At this point, when a game comes out for the Switch, it's kind of a big deal for Switch owners because we're looking for something else to play constantly right now. Zelda is big, but you play Zelda, you go, okay, yeah, that was fun, and then you look for something else. And Lego City Undercover, I think, filled that adventure open world style game, so of course a lot of people will pick it up. Also has that really cool advantage of being a handheld game as well as something you play on your TV. Just something else to think about for developers who are maybe trying to get some games out the door soon. Consider this, the library is not very big for the Switch right now. Any game that is put out will probably be looked at heavily by any Switch owner. And of course, the big thing in the news right now is the Scorpio. We had some specs revealed, we saw some performance, not anything in motion, but really screenshots that we have to believe at this point. And the only other thing we can really believe are the developers themselves. And at this point, it's the people from Turn 10 who did Forza. We saw the entire screenshot that showed the GPU utilization at the top. There were a lot of questions as which settings are they using, obviously. So when asked about the resolution settings and everything, they did say they were using ultra settings on the Xbox Scorpio, and the big thing was it only used about 88% of the GPU's utilization when it was at 4K, 60 frames, and ultra high settings that you see on the PC. And this was in a quote from Chris Tector from Turn 10 Studios. He said, "The crazy story here is that we've gone over our PC ultra settings, and for everything that's GPU related, we've been able to max it. And that's while running at 88%. And from there, Kevin Gamble, who's the group program manager at Xbox, he also chimed in saying, Chris's experience is not atypical of what we've seen from partners we've had in varying different degrees of results, but all positive. It's been great. And from there, Albert Pinello, who's the Senior Director of Product Management and Planning, he went ahead and said, I think this is the earliest in terms of time to ship. As Chris was alluding to, it's usually right down to the wire, and now we've got fully performant boxes going out shortly. We're seeing exceptionally fast getting up and running times with developers, so we're pretty bullish. I like the direction we are heading, where we're hearing a lot of time spent on quality, not a lot of time spent on performance tuning or engines or the technical development side. So what those quotes are really telling us is that the Scorpio is pretty much a beast. Most of these companies, other than Turn 10 is what they're alluding to, there are other companies that are working right now on the system and they're not having a lot of issues with performance. And in their mind, that's great. You give them a system that's extremely powerful, and you let them work on quality instead of having to figure out, oh, is it going to be 60 frames everywhere or only in like these certain spots where you're looking at this tree over here, but maybe not at this battlefield where all the stuff's going on. It seems that they have it so that the performance is overkill for what a lot of the developers right now want to do with it, which probably is bringing Xbox One quality games up to the Scorpio, 4K resolution, 4K assets, possibly unlocked frame rate that hits 60. And from there, it's going to be interesting because the real problem Microsoft has is they're not allowing developers to do anything that is only Scorpio. And I can understand they don't want to let the Xbox One early adopters down. They don't want to say, look, now you need to go buy this $500 system or $600 or whatever it's going to be. Hopefully it's not more than $500. Now you have to go buy the system to enjoy these games that we promised you we would bring you down the road. Now, They did cancel Scalebound. I'm still confused and sad about that. I don't understand why. But if they start developing Scorpio-only games, they are in trouble, and it's just not going to work. People will be mad. But at the same time, how long do we let the Xbox Scorpio be handicapped by the original Xbox One? I mean, is that just something we live with for the rest of its life when it can clearly do a lot more with its GPU? I mean, you can only jam so many textures and at that point resolution until you just don't use the entire GPU, which seems like a waste, doesn't it? It seems like there's more in that tank that we're just never going to use because all it's going to do is upscale or at least bring Xbox One games up to 4K with higher quality shadows or whatnot. It's kind of a shame. I hope Xbox and Microsoft can figure something out here just so that the Scorpio can really be unleashed. Our last bit of news today is actually pretty funny. It's kind of fun. Sometimes you want to get news like this out there just because it's a good time to see. Well, apparently somebody is still playing Final Fantasy VII religiously, and they decided to level up to the max level of 99 in the game. And while that does not sound impressive at face value, where they did it in the game is pretty impressive. So what happened was a gamer with the handle Circle Master decided to set out on a quest, if you will, for 2 years of their life. This took 500 hours in actual gameplay time. And what they did was, in the first reactor, before you fight the first boss, they decided to max out Cloud and Barrett's level by just fighting random enemies. So they started this entire quest back in January of 2015. After having someone that he watched kind of give up on the whole thing, they said, hey, I'm going to attempt to get to level 99 max out level in the first area with the reactor before you fight the boss, and then they just kind of stopped posting updates. So frustrated, Circle Master said, well, I'll do it, and then proceeded to spend 2 years of their life and 500 hours of gameplay fighting random enemies and getting to level 99, which I assume at that point, a good bit of the first part of the game is going to be very easy. Of course, weapons also count for attack, but you're level 99, so it's going to be a lot easier to get through a good chunk of that game now that he's at that point. But really, is he going to play any further? Probably not. This may have just been something fun to do, and I guess an accomplishment. I'm not sure, but you know what? There's dedication there. I'll give him that, and really he followed through and finished it, whereas someone else didn't. And that's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, all of that good stuff. Let me think about everything we talked about today, whether it's the Final Fantasy VII leveling that we just talked about up to level 99 in 2 years of their time, all in the first reactor. Pretty crazy stuff. Let me think about the Nintendo Direct coming up. Give me your predictions down in the comments below, because maybe I'm completely off. Maybe there is some new stuff coming and I'm just completely off on this. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Or maybe you're excited about Ukulele coming out today. I am. I'm going to go pick up my copy now, actually, as soon as I'm done recording this, and that'll be awesome. So let me know what you guys think. I will see you next time.